NASA.
Yes.
When the elections were nullified in 2017, the judgment and the orders that were given, and I want to assure Kenyans that we have been able to address each one of them. For example, in the transmission, which brought a lot of issues, the elections are won or lost at the polling station. The results at the polling station are final, and they will be transmitted to the National Tallying Center from the polling station. At the same time, those results from the polling station will be taken to the constituency, which is where the returning officer of the constituency will collect all the results from all the polling stations in that county, and that is the ones at the polling stations are called Form 34A. He or she will be able to make Form 34B when he adds all that, and according to the ruling or the judgment, those ones will be transmitted to the National Tallying Center. And after that, the returning officer at the constituency will be required to deliver personally to the national returning officer the results at the constituency, Form 34B. All right? Then the national returning officer will be able to collect all of them from all the 200 constituencies before he announces the results.
All right.
Now, that is a process that have been derived from the ruling.
It came from the petition.
And that we have no choice. That is how we are going to conduct.
Okay.
So we want to make it very, very transparent. There are many other wonders about our systems and operations which the Commission has complied with. And we want to take the political parties that are participating in this election through that process so that they understand. We also want the Kenyan public to understand.
All right. Sylvia seems to be on edge in a place like you have something you need to.
Yes, maybe just to respond to a few things that the Commissioner has mentioned and even Prof here. So first would be the issue of IEBC and communication again. I don't know how relevant it should be at this point in the electoral process, to start a conversation with political parties, because this is a conversation that perhaps should have begun at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, so that they are able to...
Can I intervene?
Go ahead.
IEBC has been engaging with the political parties through the Political Parties Liaison Committee. Throughout. Okay. It's not the first time we are doing. We are now want to engage with the candidates themselves. But this conversation with the Political Parties Liaison Committee through the Register of Political Parties, Office of Register of Political Parties, has been going on, and we have been briefing them on what we are doing. Okay. The problem we have in this country is that the big boys don't come to listen to what we are doing. Because we have 82 political parties that are registered. I think now it's 83 because that one of them is reinstated. And we have been having conversation with them very, very regularly. I think since last year, since I joined the commission in September, we have had like 5 meetings with them to explain to them what we are doing. So it is not something that you are starting. We are now talking about these activities that have to do with the general elections, and they would like the main players to be involved and to participate. Okay. Not to send the
just not what you need to respond to very quickly. So.
Yes. Then secondly, again, I think it goes back to engagement with media, because these issues, these very nice things that Commissioner is talking about, how IBC is going to duplicate what they're doing with the presidential candidates at county level. I think this sort of information has not been disseminated to media, and it would be nice for them to have regular briefings with media, perhaps, so that this information can also go to the citizens. Secondly,
let me tell you about that. We have a memorandum of understanding with all the media houses, which we have signed. We signed about 2 months ago, and we started engaging them last year. And we have media working group, and we have engaged them, and we in terms of what we are doing, and they would like the media also to be able to be communicating.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So it goes, I think then the ball is in your court then, Jacob. I mean,
Absolutely.
it moves to you now.
Okay.
Then moving to the issue that Prof had raised about Chapter 6. Maybe I can just touch a little bit about that, because that's something that's very key to Mzalendo. And it's very disheartening to see candidates that have had, issues with corruption, criminal cases, being cleared by IEBC, yet the standards are very clear in Chapter 6. And I think there's kind of standards that are set out by Chapter 6 would not envision a situation where a candidate that has a criminal case, a pending criminal case or a corruption case, and while we say proven till innocent, till proven innocent until proven guilty, it's presumed innocent until proven guilty. I think that's where we go wrong. We need to focus on that, because why then would the DPP have basis to bring charges against you? And not only that, just the kind of conduct that some of these candidates have displayed is not fit for a candidate who would be cleared by IBC to contest for office. So that's something as a country we need to think about moving forward. And then also on cost of elections, I think another thing that feeds to this really is the campaign financing. And I'll speak a little bit about this.
We'll talk about it.
For me, my main concern is this. Elections were nullified. It means someone did something wrong. That person has not even been put to face the consequences.
How do you know?
Of course, who paid for the cost? Again, it was the Treasury or the Exchequer, which is Wanjiku, that came and paid for it. So when there are no consequences for non-compliance, anyone will do anything. For example, when you do by-elections, normally happens that a candidate rigged the election, and there's a by-election to be done. We are financing that by-election, and the same candidate who rigged the election that led to the by-election is still contesting. And the officers who helped him rig the election are still overseeing that election. I'm sure this one for me is a very serious in the Chapter 6 here that we need to think about, because if there are no consequences for non-compliance, you'll do it. I grew up when, if you don't go to church, my father was that throughout the week, there was no money for that 1 shilling for buying sugarcane. So you would not see sugarcane for 1 week. So you'd go to church. That's how I became a church boy. And if you look at, again, the issue of telling us that we are going to have engagement, I am a strategist. I am concerned about outcomes. The fact that people you have been engaging for the last 2 months, or you call it 1 year, still cannot even qualify to contest. What is the quality of this engagement? Because if you have been engaging them, you say you've been engaging them for 1 year, there's an outdoor open policy for them to come in and be engaged. What we want is that, does this improve electioneering process? Does it reduce fraud? Does it reduce election malpractice? Does it make Kenya understand more elections? Because I go to the polling station, I go vote. You discover that when you reach there, even the guidance from the polling officers can be confusing. Yet they were trained. So you spend the money on training. Are they able to understand the process of election at the polling station? I like what you have said. Elections are won at the polling station. If the polling or presiding officers don't know what to do, then already we are having a fraudulent election in the beginning, because it's not to do with, look at the number of, for example, stolen votes, spoiled votes.
Spoiled votes, yes.
The more we have more spoiled votes, for me, it shows quality of the election. And who is to be held responsible for this number of spoiled votes, because they can make a thug be elected and relieve a quality candidate from not being elected because of spoiled votes. So I'm looking at this thing critically by assessing each and every detail. I want outcomes. We cannot be process and event driven. No. Like, let's say, For example, Mzalendo, we can say, we have had 10 meetings to brief people. That is a good way to report. But 10 meetings have led to what?
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Oh, quite an interesting angle there, and I'll allow you to respond very quickly so we can come back to campaign financing, because we already have gone to integrity issues.
So,
yes.
now, let me first of all respond to Professor's issues about our officers. Our officers are properly trained. I would want to say that, and we are going to do that again. And they are guided in terms of what to do at the polling station and how to guide those people who are coming to cast their votes. Our training is good. We have developed training manuals, and arising from what we have gone through in the past, these manuals are being improved. Like the one we are using today is an improvement on what we had in 2017. What am I saying? IBC must also be seen as a very new organization. You know, for a long time, this is the first time we have had people complete this, their term of office.
Yeah.
The 3 commissioners who have been there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And because of their being in office, we have been able to develop some manuals that are going to be used to improve our operations, which is very good.
All right.
The next thing, IBC must always follow the law. We need to relax some of the legislations so that we can reduce the cost of the elections as well. This is another conversation for another day, but that is something that we need to do as well.
All right.
And that, of course, has got to do with the trust. Finally, chapter 6. You know, as a commission and following the rule of law and guided by the Election Act and the Constitution, we may not be able to stop somebody whose case, even if he's a criminal or a mandala, the matter is in court. We cannot, and we have no room to stop him from running for an office.
What if EACC tells you we have charged this person in court?
You have been charged, but you are innocent until you are proved guilty.
And that is what you're operating.
That is the position of the commission, and that is the law.
But you see,
but let me give a data. I want to give you a data. Now, there are people who have been gone through the court process. They have been convicted, all right, and they have come out and appealed, all right. That person, and this is here we need a conversation, national conversation as well. One, when you have been convicted and you have been jailed, and you appeal and you are a free man, does that remove the sentence that you were given by the court? For example, the High Court. It doesn't. As far as I'm concerned,
somebody was jailed,
then
for example, Commissioner, very quickly. Somebody was jailed for 67 years. Convicted 67 years. And you know who I'm talking about. They were cleared yesterday by the IBC to run as Member of Parliament. I mean, you could argue about a person being presumed innocent until proven guilty, but conviction of 67 years, then cleared to run?
Yes, that's exactly the point I'm coming to.
In fact, I have a challenge with the commissioner.
Yes.
The issue is this. After that person has been presumed guilty and presumed innocent until proven guilty, and we know this is a case which is glaring, then later they're elected. After 3 months they are convicted, then they are overthrown. Wanjiku again finances such an election. For me, I believe this is an insult in our economy.
Let's allow the commissioner.
No, that's what I'm saying. The point you are putting across to me is an issue that is very, very difficult at this stage. All right? Because the person you are referring to.
Yes.
Why did he go back to Senate and he continued to do his senatorial jobs? All right?
It was actually something as MP.
I see that there's a loophole in our law.
Okay.
You should remain guilty until the appeal decides otherwise. And therefore, but the way it is now, there is an appeal that is running, so you are innocent until
the Court of Appeal says again you're guilty.
We need to look at our judiciary guide us in some of those issues on what to do. And if somebody goes to court and they says no, this cannot happen, IBC will be ready to obey the direction of the court.
Right. But you see, my brother, we have to distinguish what is legal and what is moral, because I believe chapter 6 is not about
what is legal and what is
immoral.
Yes.
What is legal and moral?
Yeah.
Chapter 6 does not talk about legality only. It's also about morality. And when someone was convicted and has a case, it is about, for example, where I work in Strathmore, if I commit something of that kind, I'll be told to step aside. In fact, I'll be aside. In fact, we even asked in some positions, step aside, because a moral issue is not a legal issue anymore. And I think, for example, Sylvia, the issue about chapter 6 now, the issue of morality needs to be enhanced beyond legality.
Okay.
Because they're not equal.
Then we need to have we don't have at the moment to measure morality, unfortunately. But that is something we need to know as a nation. How do you use it?
All right. Unfortunately, we'll not even have time to talk about finance, the campaign capping. But I could allow you probably to just touch a bit on it for 1 minute, so we wind up, because we've run out of time completely.
Okay. I just wanted to say that it has a direct impact on the cost of elections, because if you see the kind of heavy investment that candidates put in, at the primary stage, at the nomination stage, even before the election stage, and they have to recoup that, and it creates some sort of, I can call it a cycle of corruption, which is what I think Dr. Commissioner had spoken about. Because you'd find that the kind of people, first of all, you find it goes again to chapter 6. So people who do not have money, people who do not have access to resources, and they're capable candidates are excluded in the first place. They do not have the capability to, quote unquote, pay for their seats, let me say that. And now again, with this issue of coalitions and consensus building and political zoning, you find that a political party will pick the candidate, if I may say, that may be able to contribute the most to the political party. A candidate here, like my good friend Professor, who was not able to, give that kind of financial, or have that kind of financial muscle, then does not have a seat. And this has an implication on women, youth, persons with disabilities. And again, it's a cycle, because when I get into a position of power, then I have to recoup what I spent,
Absolutely.
But more interestingly on that, once someone has gone through a nomination process, like when I was in Ugenya, I spent 58 million shillings trying to get the ODM ticket. When somebody has spent 100 million to try to get that ticket and he has got it, now the stakes become very high, that now he has to do anything possible to try to win the election, and that's where the issues come on board.
All right.
And when you control how much someone uses, if you use 10 million, now you'll be most likely to say, it's okay if I don't get the seat anyway.
Dr. I hope I can engage all of you next week, because this is a very important conversation, and particularly on that one where the elections look like they're a reach-only affair. And that is what, Sylvia was alluding to, unfortunately. Time has run out, and I hope I can engage you next week. Thank you very much. Francis Wanderi, the Commissioner of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and good luck as you deliver on your mandate. Sylvia Katua, the Program Officer from Zalando Trust, thank you again. And also Dr. Fred Ogola, Academic Director, MBA Program at Strathmore University. That's where we end Kenya Decides. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. Have yourself a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Knows everything and had a heart attack.
I decided that I won't allow him to continue playing games with you, nor with my grandsons.
Nanyuki, are you ready? Saturday Night Show SNS coming your way live from AJ's The Ranch in Nanyuki this coming Saturday, 4th of June 2022 from 4 p.m. up till late. Country meets the 80s and 90s. Bamba, Nyama Choma, great music by DJ Stano on the Wheels of Steel, na pia mimi John Karani, JK, live on location with Saturday Night Show.
It generates huge revenue from the world-famous Masai Mara National Reserve and the agricultural sector. Two candidates, Moitalel Olekenta and Patrick Olentutu, are gearing up for the next governor of this county. What is their agenda for Narok? Don't miss the Narok County gubernatorial debate this Thursday, 2nd of June from Masai Mara University, exclusively on KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m.
This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
The UN sounds alarm on Eastern Africa food security, warning the drought situation is set to get worse. Ukrainian authorities say over half of Eastern